course, we get to Alvin Bragg, this Manhattan district attorney who is bought off by Soros. And I know, if you go on Twitter right now, I know a lot of you guys are on Twitter. If you go on Twitter right now or anywhere where liberals are congregating, they are telling us that if we mention the name Soros, if we talk about the impact and influence that Soros has on American politics, because he gives so many millions of dollars towards political causes, that we are being anti-Semitic. It's laughable. It's the most absurd allegation ever, because when we talk about Soros, we're talking about his money and his activism. Like the money that he uses for activism, not even like his money in his bank account. We're talking about his political activism. It would be like if a pro-abortion activist criticized Lila Rose and we were like, oh, you can't, that's anti-Catholic because she's Catholic. Like, no, they're talking about her political activism. We are talking about Soros' political activism, and it is objective reality that George Soros gave $1 million to Alvin Bragg's election, his campaign, his re-election campaign. George Soros wanted to elect Alvin Bragg into this position as Manhattan District Attorney. Why? Because George Soros sponsored this progressive prosecutors project all over the United States. We've been talking about it for years. This is the manifestation of it. This is what happens when you deliberately elect prosecutors who don't have any interest in prosecuting crime. Soros has this bananas theory that if you decriminalize everything, it will make society better. That half of convictions that happen, most of convictions that happen, most incarceration is unjust because there's no such thing as neutrality in the law. Our law is systemically racist and it's systemically oppressive against marginalized persons. It's a neo-Marxist philosophy. This is what happens. Alvin Bragg downgraded 52% of felonies in 2022 to misdemeanors. Over half. And yet, when it comes to President Trump, something that's a misdemeanor that really shouldn't even be a misdemeanor because no one literally cares, he's elevating to a felony. Now, the only technicality, the legal technicality, why he can elevate this to a felony, he can't just choose to do this. He has some discretion as a prosecutor, but there is a contingency here. There is a condition, I should say. The condition is he can elevate it to a felony if he can prove that the falsification of business records, Trump saying legal fees when it wasn't legal fees, was done deliberately, either in the commission of or to cover up an additional crime. But what is that additional crime? That additional crime is under seal, but the speculation is that it's a campaign finance law violation. So you might be thinking, okay, but this is an imploding argument from Alvin Bragg. This case is just like cannibalizing itself. And you're exactly right. It is. This is the weakest case on planet Earth. So it's stupid in and of itself, but then you compare what Alvin Bragg has done with actual violent criminals in Manhattan. A man that was accused of raping his teenage relative was given a sweetheart deal by Alvin Bragg. And this man, once he served like 30, 60 days in jail for raping a teenager, went on to allegedly assault 5 other people. That's Alvin Bragg. He doesn't even want violent criminals, rapists, locked up. He downgraded a felony for grand larceny to a misdemeanor. But Trump filled in something incorrectly on a legal form. Let's slap those handcuffs on him. Let's get him in the slammer.